Rebecca Rivero is a Western alumna who is making a difference. She has created MiddleWomen.com as a dynamic resource for individuals who battle physical, mental, emotional, or social issues and disorders while simultaneously battling body dissatisfaction.
Rebecca's work gives hope and encourages men and women to celebrate their individuality and learn new skills to live a more positive life. Chris Headland has the story.
There's so many people out there with such important roles to play in society, but there's a lack of connection, and we're trying to provide a base platform with support so that they can come into an existing system and make it better.
Middle Women started as a Tumblr blog 2.5 years ago, based on the idea that if we could create alternative media, particularly photography that wasn't photoshopped, then we could start giving people something else to look at and hopefully get to the point where people were accepting of who they were as individuals. The inspiration was definitely my own disordered eating, and then the relationships I was forming with other people online who were also struggling, and just learning that everybody's experiences were very, very different, even though medical language was trying to group us into very specific categories. We were realizing that the resources weren't really out there for people who didn't fit in those boxes. So the original idea was just to be able to basically just start the conversation that maybe there was more that was needed. There was never really the plan that we were going to be what was needed. It was just that we wanted to put it out there, that these conversations about how people are struggling and what recovery could really look like wasn't really happening yet. And I really personally wanted it to start so that people like me who didn't fit in the boxes could receive help at a much younger age than I did. So solution-based problem solving, at least in our opinion, is noticing the problem, acknowledging it, and then trying to put most of our energy into figuring out what the solutions are to that problem, because there's so many solutions to any given problem. And then also taking it another step further, which is what will the world be like once those solutions are successfully implemented?
I would say that when you're focusing on the problem, people put up barriers. Like, you're doing something wrong. Like, oh, like, I'm not. Or, I'm defensive about that.
Right.
And it makes change slow. A less direct way of targeting issues is to understand them, understand what the problems are, and instead of pointing at the problems, pointing at the solutions. When you take a step back and look at the process that's going on, we're kind of guiding everyone in and showing people through examples of what we do appreciate and what we do like.
Yeah.
I think people join a club at a college because they're trying to connect with peers, and it's hard. And we're trying to create a safe space where they can do that effectively with people that share like-minded goals.
And so ultimately our goal as Western's chapter of Middle Women, being kind of the flagship of trying to see what a Middle Women Club can be like. And so we are working with them to learn all these things and try and fail and see what's working, with the ultimate goal by the end of this academic year to have a package together that we can send off to any school who's interested in starting a chapter.
Yeah.
We're trying to create something that anybody can see one day, and it'll make it easier for them to get started, because we don't want anybody to have the barriers that we've had
Right.
starting from scratch. At least giving them the opportunity to start something knowing that they have a lot of support.
Functional level inside the cell is there's a change in the state of the cell. So ions flowing in and out of the cell cause the cell to be overexcited. And that cell needs energy, which comes from the blood, in order to maintain homeostasis in the cell. However, after a concussion, there's actually a drop in cerebral blood flow that can last for 7 to